What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Polo Evolve, and I'm back with another video. Today, we are going to be talking about how I secured my very first funded account. Now, this story takes place all the way back in 2022, so we gotta go rewind all the way back about, I think, about 4 years now, right? But before I get into this story, I wanted to tell you guys that my trading journey started in 2020. I want to say late 2019. One of my homies, he got into it, and I still remember this day. We were sitting in, we were still in university at the time, and we were sitting in one of these lecture halls, right? We are just doing some studying. Not really. We're just chilling. But he pulls up the chart. He shows me, and I'm like, wow, what's this? And then, like I think I watched a video on it before, like a LARPing type lifestyle video that was promoting trading. I was like, whatever. Like, I don't really understand this. And then when my boy started talking to me about it, of course I got a little bit more interested because someone that I knew was able to kind of explain it to me, and he showed me like, oh, this, like this is how it works, and you can make money, blah blah. I'm like, oh, I was instantly intrigued. Started looking into it. Obviously I hopped on Baby Pips. If you guys know the real OGs know what babypips.com is. That's where you get all your basic knowledge on how, like candlesticks and all that stuff, all that good stuff, right? Patterns, all that stuff. Now, originally I did start off with Forex. So fast forward a little bit back to 2022. I was trading. Well, before I even got to, trying to go for funded accounts, I was obviously putting money into a live account and then instantly blowing it, or even running it up a bit and then blowing it. Eventually, like, it got to the point where I was just putting in money and, it wasn't going my way. But obviously the introduction of prop firms came into the mix, and slowly but surely, I got interested in prop firms, and I wanted to give it a shot. Now I gave it a shot with FTMO. That was my first firm. Again, I was trading Forex for a couple of years. I just recently switched to futures. And so I was looking into FTMO, and obviously I was trying to get their 50K funded account. And I don't know if I actually purchased one yet. What I ended up doing was they had this trial that you could use. Like, it's called like a free trial on FTMO, which basically you can simulate the simulation, right? So like funded accounts are already simulated accounts, but this trial is basically you don't have to put any money towards it. You can just, basically simulate the challenge for free. And so I would do this, and I wanted to prove to myself that I can actually pass. And I did a bunch of trials. I kept failing because obviously, like, I'm just learning it. I'm learning the journey. I'm trying to understand myself. And at this time, I was really big into self-improvement. You guys know I'm pretty big into fitness. And about 4 years ago, this is when I was starting to make my moves really towards, like, self-improving. So I started reading a lot of books. I started working out all the time. I started eating clean, focusing on my sleep, doing practices like meditation, reading. I think I already said that. But yeah, meditation, reading, praying, all these good things, like watching my water intake, basically just looking at small little areas of my life and how I can improve those areas, right? And so this obviously is a good thing when it comes to trading because, the more locked in or dialed in you are into your personal life and just your personal growth in general, it can translate very well into your trading. Sometimes it may not translate well because, you become super hyper focused on everything. And trading is one of those things where you kind of have to not necessarily go with the flow, but yes, go with the flow in the sense that you got to take what the market gives you, right? But now, with that being said, at this time, I'm really into self improvement, and of course, with the COVID lockdowns, it's I live in Canada, so we got hit pretty bad with those lockdowns, and what ended up happening was like, I'd still see my friends here and there, but it got to a point where I was like, you know what, I gotta go ghost mode, and this is what really did it for me. I went ghost mode, and I think like for like 1 month, like I like buzzed my head, which is so weird. Like I never do that, but this is like to signify like, wow, I'm really gonna go take it to the next step, right? And so I ghost everyone. I buzz my head. Every day I'm going for walks. I'm reading. I'm praying. I'm meditating. I'm working out. If the gym was open, I go to the gym. If it wasn't, it doesn't matter. I'm still doing what I need to do. And every single day, I remember I would just hop on the charts, do my thing in the morning, and then I would just read for a very long time again, because with the lockdowns, I'm not doing too much. I didn't have a job at this time, and so I read for a very long time. I was crushing books at this point. I was crushing books left, right, and center. And so it's really just a testament to what my mindset was, what was at the time, right? Because what that ended up doing for me was, I'd blow a bunch of trial accounts, and then eventually I passed two in a row. And then I was like, you know what, I'm pretty confident. So let me get a funded challenge, whatever, 50K challenge. I bought one 50K challenge and I gave it a go. And, simple strategy, breakout, price action strategy, which is, just go with the flow of the market during the market open hours, whenever it's super volatile. If there's like support and resistance being created and then those are being broken, obviously there's a break and a retest of those levels. And so that's usually what I would be trading at that time. And with that being said, like that focus, right? The art of focus that I had at that moment in my life where everything was just locked in. I wasn't really linking my friends. I wasn't going out. I wasn't talking to any women. I wasn't doing any bullshit. I was just locked in. Every day it was just same process over and over again, over and over again, over and over again. And I would be tracking everything too, right? In my Excel sheet, I track how much I was reading. In my Excel sheet, I had habits that I was tracking, and I was like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this. I check it off, I check it off. And eventually, lo and behold, I was able to pass that funded account. And for me, that was a big, big step in the right direction, right? Now, what happened after that, I'm not necessarily proud of. I ended up blowing that account immediately. And so, I think a lot of people will experience this as well. Because again, I thought I was ready for this funded account, but truly I wasn't. Maybe there was a little bit of luck associated with me passing the account. Maybe there wasn't, who knows? But when I got to the funded stage, everything that I had, all the practices that I was doing during the challenge phase went out the window. And I think this happens to a lot of people as well because I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube of people explaining the same type of thing that happened to them, right? Where they'll do fine trying to get funded, right, during the challenge phase, the eval phase, and then when they're actually funded, everything goes out the window because again, there's another psychological pressure to this, right? And that's basically the story, man. I was super locked in, and that's what allowed me to actually make the step from never being funded in my life to finally being funded. And at that time in my life, it was a very big thing for me to be funded because I've never done it before, right? And I think a lot of people, maybe you guys are watching this, you've never been funded. One piece of advice I can give to you guys is that you guys just need to improve on your daily processes day by day, right? Tracking is definitely something that I think is very underrated. And if you start tracking all the little nuances, little tidbits in your life, I'm pretty sure that you can identify where it is that you are going wrong in your journey and then just make those simple adjustments to make sure that you are on the right track, right? And so that's probably the best advice I can give you. Now, aside from this, nowadays I get funded with ease, right? And I kind of treat evals like I'm trading futures now, and I treat evals like they are trash. I wouldn't recommend this if you guys don't have money to blow on evals, right? I have a job now, so I put aside a portion of the money that I make from my job on a monthly basis towards evals, and now I just kind of full port them, right? The way that these work here, like for example, like top step evals, you have to pass them. You can pass them in 2 days, and you just gotta make sure that you make 1,500 each day, right? That's exactly what I do. I just open it up, full port it, and this is a different type of mentality, right? Because at the end of the day, you have to understand evals are just simulated, right? And you don't really have a chance to make any real money. So if you spend a lot of time during the eval phase, then you're essentially just wasting time. And the eval is not that much money if you think about it. I believe like what if you buy the non or you buy the activation fee one, which that's like 55 USD or something like that, or 49 USD, which is again not too bad, right? And then obviously you got to pay the activation fee if you do get funded, but that's a whole different story. And now there's obviously a difference between the way challenges are viewed now for me uh, as opposed to how I viewed them back in the day. And the major difference, I guess, was that when I first passed that FDMO 50K funded account, I took a lot of time. I think I took like 2 to 3 weeks to pass that account. I was like slowly grinding that account out, which was good at the beginning. And I think if you've never been funded before, you should take your time, right? I just told you that I treat evals now like they're trash. And then I'm advising you guys, again, if you've never been funded, then I'm advising you for sure to take it slow. Why? Because listen, the biggest thing, and this thing still, affects me to this day, is just comparing yourself to other people, right? With the introduction of social media, not even the introduction, I guess just the rise of social media. It's so prominent in our lives now. I'm always constantly seeing traders other traders doing very well, you know, hitting like six-figure P&Ls, whatever the case may be, you know, just making a whole bunch of money, LARPing their lifestyle. And you have to realize a lot of this is fake, right? A lot of it's not real. But what this does to you psychologically is this makes you compare yourself to these people, and it makes you feel like you are not worthy, you are less than. And so, and I fall victim to this as well. This is exactly why I am sharing this with you guys. I want you guys to understand, if you've never been funded before, that is completely fine. Everyone has their own journey. You cannot compare yourself if you are at level 1 to someone who is at level 5 or level 10 or level 15 or level 20. It just doesn't make sense for you, because the more that you focus on someone else's journey, the less progress that you will make in your own journey. Think of it like driving a car, right? When you're driving a car, yes, you may have to look left and right just to understand, who's beside you. But at the same time, if you focus too much time, on what is left and right to you, then what ends up happening is you're not focused on what is actually ahead and what is in your lane and what you need to actually focus on. And what's going to end up happening is you're going to end up crashing your car because you were too busy focused on someone else's lane. And so that's a great analogy for this, in a sense that if you've never been funded before, do not worry. Please take your time. And, it's very easy to cycle through evals, waste a whole bunch of money on evals. I've personally been someone that has spent a lot of money on evals as well. And so in those cases, you just got to slow it down. But yeah, that's basically the story, guys. As always, thank you guys for watching, and stay frosty, my friend.